Libra. So, how's it going? We're going to do an intuitive tarot, and then we'll do, on the extended, we'll do a look at the planetary placements, the eclipses. I'll talk about the eclipses a little here as well. And I have like a little bit of a story that I want to share with you about, just making sure, about Jupiter being in your sign. So we'll do that in the extended. And if you're having trouble accessing the extended readings, that will remedy itself by tomorrow, I think, or the day after. So please just put in the comments where you would like it available and we'll figure it out. All right, so let's do intuitive first. August, Libra. You guys ready, finally, for something new? Jupiter being in your sign means that there's like a 12-year cycle now. Something you weren't ready to do 12 years ago, you're ready to do now. Something you couldn't have done. Perhaps it has to do with emotional independence. You guys are pretty independent to begin with, but love, you know, being Venus ruled, love gets to you guys, doesn't it? It's your weakness. Have a perfectly good life going on, you know, great trajectory for your career, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's love. You have everything set up the way you want, everything is going right, and then you marry Kanye, ticking time bomb. Love. Love messes with Libra's perfection. So, I just did the Virgo reading. We were talking about perfection and how it's such a constrictive force for them. And then here comes Libra, which is a reaction to Virgo. So Libra comes in and takes something that's very restrictive for Virgos, which is the pursuit of perfection, and really does something great with it. Takes the boundaries off of perfection and says, I don't need to spend a million hours trying to discern the value of this. All I need to do is ask myself if it is beautiful. Is this beautiful? No, it's no use to me. Virgo doesn't want to just see if it's beautiful. It wants to see, you know, all these different aspects. It wants to look at it from every side and every angle and really take its time to figure out what's of value and what's not. And Libra comes in and says, no, listen, value is determined by universal truths, and I can tell just from, you know, sensing that thing or looking at that thing, I can judge it pretty accurately and say, you know, this is the truth of that. This is the value of that. So then the trap becomes, once you saw value in something, right? How do you unsee it? Once you went through the process that you hold so dear and respect about yourself, how do you go back and then admit that that didn't work or wasn't the right thing to do? You spent the necessary brain power, you trusted your instincts, you know that thing was valuable, that connection was valuable, that thing, it was real, it was beneficial for everyone involved. You were right. How do you dissuade yourself from something that you knew was right? Well, you realize that you're not the only one interacting with the hologram. Although you can see the value of something and you can see the justice and the fairness and, you know, how it should be, does not mean that the hologram is going to necessarily adhere to your judgment. There are other people that are also informing the hologram of what they want and what they think at the same time. And what you receive back for your observation or for your judgment is the hologram or the universe or whatever you want to call it, crunching all that data that it's getting back from everyone around you and then relaying to you some sort of response to what you're putting out. And so here you are, this thing that you had judged as being of value, but it didn't behave the way you wanted it to. And so now you have to reassess. The way I have it written down here is letting go of what used to be a sure thing. And I don't mean a sure thing as in, oh, I've got that, that's in the bag. I mean a sure thing as in, like, you really thought that this was love. You really thought that this was, like, the thing, the special thing. And so letting go of something that you put that sort of a premium on can be super difficult. It brings out the stubborn side of Libra, and the stubborn side of Libra always has to do with not wanting to be viewed as a failure. So again, that fear of the external judgment. When one is so judgmental, I don't mean that in a negative way. Of course, that word has a pejorative connotation. I don't mean it that way. But when one is, let's say, has an aptitude for judging, okay, the external, then we know that there is also, right, the internal judging. We know, of course. So here we are internally judging ourselves now on this thing that we thought was a sure thing, and we thought it was a value, and now we're like, no, that thing actually wasn't that. But if I admit that, does that mean that I'm not perfect and I'm not smart? So all this talk of value, and then the card I associate with value, the Nine of Pentacles, comes up. Okay, let's leave that for a second. It's really good that that comes up because it confirms what I've been feeling for you guys, which is, you know, the hand of Jupiter on your, you know, the placement of Jupiter in your sign is just so good for you. The great benefic, it's called. And I love this placement because we can really have a very intimate conversation now about what you're going through, because I understand it so completely. Let me explain. You have Jupiter in your first house at the moment, okay? In the house of your birth. I was born with Jupiter in the first house. So I embody however you guys have been feeling for a little while now. So welcome. Welcome to my world. Welcome to the world of having the great benefic in your first house. Natural good luck. Tons of good luck. Enormously lucky. In love, in finance, in education, in experience, in travel. It is the planet that brings you luck and pleasure and adventure and all of those things. So, you have Jupiter in your first house. Nine of Pentacles. Comfortable money. More than enough. More than enough that you can kind of just chill. You can give it to people who need it. You can help people around you. You can expand your circle a little if you want. Your circle of people you know, ride or die for. You have the means now to be even more what you love being, which is a connector. The air signs are connectors. Gemini is the synapse between everything. Next card, Three of Wands. Next card, the Empress. Very happy to see that too. So Gemini is the synapse. It comes in and says connections. Let's connect everything. Connect everything. You know, it's like a little kid who you let into a room full of like all red buttons. You know, and you say, you know, you think you can keep from pushing the red buttons, and then you leave, and the kid pushes every red button. That's Gemini. It's a connect. Ooh. It doesn't have time to discern which connections should be made and which shouldn't. It doesn't have time to discern which connections are really of value or not. It's not in the business of doing that. It's just connect. Okay, bye. You know, and so a lot of tolerance for everything. Just yes, okay, let me connect this and this, sure. And that has a lot of value. Although, you know, Sagittarians are really annoyed by that. And rightfully so, because Sagittarians are like, okay, should you just tolerate and connect everything to each other? I don't think so. You know, that's one air sign. You being the next air sign, you are also connective, but you are not connective in that same kind of free-for-all, let everything in and, you know, facilitate every connection. You don't do that. You are much more refined. You are much more, how would you say it? Not subtle, not subtle, smooth. Right, let's use the most like trite kind of descriptive for you, diplomatic, right? So you connect people, not synaptic, every idea connected. You connect people who embody those ideas. Being a connective force, being, for example, the center of a hub of some kind that you create out of your own, energetic whirlpool that you have around you that sucks people in a really positive way, and it sucks them in, and they feel they are part of this, really kind of aesthetic collective where, there are expansive sort of, things going on. This is a time in your life where you'll be able to take that natural want to be, that connective force, and you'll have enough money and enough luck to be able to physically do it, materially do it, and you're brave enough in the mind and in the soul right now to manifest, expansion, and you feel self-image wise very good and grounded about who you are. Does this mean that everything is great and nothing is, wrong? No, not at all. But it means when you're here, when you have this sort of energy going on, it's very easy to meet someone. This first eclipse that you have, this lunar eclipse, and the eclipse energy is going to last from about August 7th into February. This first eclipse for you guys is in your 5th house. Aquarius is in your 5th house. And that's the heart. It's art. It's love. So what does a lunar eclipse do for you there? This is the way I'd like to put it. People often refer to Librans as the sign of the aesthetic. Absolutely true. People often forget that the opposite of aesthetic is anesthetic. Numb. So let's rework that definition of aesthetic then, because a lot of people can view Libra as being too surface, chatty, superficial to a certain degree. Aesthetic is not just about conceit or looks or image or perfection. Aesthetic, if you look at the opposite, then you get a deeper understanding of the meaning of the word, right? So if anesthetic means that you can't feel, then doesn't aesthetic mean something that makes you feel good, right? Okay, so Libra embodies, just follow me here, Libra embodies the aesthetic. Great. The beauty that moves you. In the Capricorn video last month, or the month before, I was making fun of my older brother who's Capricorn, who cried watching the fountains at the Bellagio when they have like the sweeping music and stuff. He had a Libra moment. He was very proud of his Libra moment too. And coincidentally, even though he is a Capricorn, he had that moment while he was in Vegas marrying a Libra. So what he felt, this kind of closed up earth sign, very, driven and ambitious and, just a guy. And he watched just this play of water and sound and light, and the aesthetic of it, the beauty of it completely moved him. There were tears streaming down his face. And when I got on him about it, which of course I did, because I've never been to a movie with him where I didn't cry and he didn't make fun of me. Like, he thinks it's hilarious that I cry watching stuff. So when he did that, like, I wasn't going to let it go. I was like, what? What are you doing right now? Are you crying right now? And he looked at me and he totally owned it. you know, in a way that I think you guys own it all the time. He totally owned it. He was like, it was beautiful, you know? It's really beautiful. I really like that. You know, he wasn't like wiping his tears away and being like, oh, whatever, shut up. He was like, no, yeah, that really moved me, you know? It's really beautiful, you know? So that, excuse me, that is your purpose. That is your nature. Not just to make things beautiful. There are many beautiful things. I haven't seen my brother cry at any of them, ever. Never seen my brother moved by beauty. Sure, he can look at something and say, no, that's a, you know, he can watch Devdas and see Aishwarya Rai as Bhagavati and go, now, really, she's beautiful. Fine. Yes, beauty. Great. Moved to tears. That's something else entirely. That's not beauty. And that's the thing about Libra that I love so much. Libra's not interested in pretty. Ugh. I remember, this is such a weird example, but go with, I mean, come on, we love each other. I know I can ramble. Remember there used to be this show about like Janice Dickinson who was like trying to like get people to model or something. I don't know, something where she was like doing it as a reaction to Tyra. I don't know. Anyway, I learn from everything I read, see, watch, whatever. Like everything is a learning experience for me. So I was watching this tacky ass show years and years ago, whatever. And these two women walked in at the same time. And one was like this kind of typically, you know, I guess you'd call it like Southern Cali, you know, beachy, blonde, like really pretty in the face, really pretty, you know, girl next door, really pretty. And the other one that walked in was kind of, you know, had this like really strange kind of alien, you know, this kind of like face, right? Where you're like, you know, all cheekbones and jaw and just weird. And like the guys weren't immediately falling out of their seats for her or anything like that. They were just like, whoa, you know. The other one, they were all over her. Okay, so what I was saying was, I know, the camera. So what I was saying was, so these two women walk in, and then you see Janice Dickinson and her, you know, booker that she's working with have this conversation. And the conversation that plays out is such a Libran, like, joy to watch. Janice is like, okay, I like, you know, and she's talking about the weird girl. She's like, I like that girl. Like, that's exactly what we're looking for. Sign her up, blah, blah, blah. The guy is like, what? No. Like, we're definitely going, if we're doing, you know, if we're taking them, we're taking them both. Because the other one is, like, ridiculously pretty. Like, are you blind? Like, I can't believe you didn't start by mentioning the other girl. I swear that we were about to have a conversation about how that other girl, you know, the really pretty blonde that walked in is the one that's going to, like, blow up and make a lot of money. Like, I thought that's what we were talking about. And the way Janice Dickinson looks at him is hilarious. Like, she's just like, what? That girl can't be a model, you know? And he's like so confused. He's like, excuse me, do you see the reaction she's getting out there? Like, every guy in here wants to sleep with her. And Janice is like, right, but that's not what fashion is about. You know? There's a difference between a helmet laying like nude, you know, right, like ad for something, or a Helmut Newton, you know, nude photograph. I've seen some like semi-nude Helmut Lang ads where I'm like, yes, you know, when he had those nude skirts that came out. Or Helmut Newton, someone who's all, you know, just funny that they're both named the same, who does like fantastic nude, you know, photography. Really powerful, showing women in their, you know, real like Diana goddess kind of posture. There's a big difference between that and pornography, right? They're both, if you break it down, they're both just pictures of naked people, but hugely, vastly different, right, in its energy. So that's what she was trying to explain to him. She was like, no, that girl won't work because fashion is about aesthetic. It's not about beauty. It's not, as much as Libra would like to be perfect and does strive to be perfect in the aesthetic. which also means, you know, not just being pretty, not just being clean, not just being on top of it, but being a good person, being a nice person, being nice to the people around you, doing nice things for the people around you, right? All of that. That's all part of your aesthetic. It's not just about meaninglessly chasing perfection or beauty. You are a reaction to a sign who does that and constantly falls on its face for doing that. So you learn that lesson. You know, you come into the world after that because you've already learned that. So you come in being like, I don't need to chase perfection. Perfection is not beautiful. Perfection is not interesting. Perfection is not aesthetic. It's not art, right? Imperfection is beautiful. Weirdness is beautiful. And I'm going to use a word here that a lot of people associate with you guys, but perhaps don't, you know, say to your face. Aesthetic is cool. Beauty, like, I think the way she put it, Janice Dickinson on the show, she was like, beauty is boring. Pretty is boring. No one's going to buy, you know, a $4,000 dress hanging on a girl who's pretty. Like, you know, God made her that way. That dress didn't make her that way. Why would I buy that from her? You know, like, it reminds me of, there is a company called St. John by Marie Gray, and they hired Angelina Jolie as a spokesperson, as a spokesmodel or whatever, and they had her in, you know, this campaign. And the campaign never went anywhere, and no one bought anything that she wore because people looked at her and were like, she's perfect. I'm not going to look that way from buying those gloves. F those gloves. I'm not buying those gloves, right? Forgive me if I've told you that before. So in the same way, what she was saying was, you know, no, she's too pretty. That's not what fashion is. Fashion is supposed to get you on a visceral level. It's supposed to cause a visceral reaction, right? That's what I love about what Elma did to my hair. Like, it makes you feel. It's not like, oh my God, you got such a pretty haircut. You got such a pretty color. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. It's so much more than that. It's alive, you know? Aesthetic is a living, breathing kind of beauty, not this kind of stone perfection that Virgo chases its whole life to look like the perfect Roman statue or to attain the perfect looking partner or the perfect looking job, or like, you know, Libra's like, F all that. You know, perfection is what I make it, and what I make it is like this, like this, like this. Look at, you know, look at my version of beautiful. So when you're feeling this way, you are, what I have here written down is, you're living from the heart. When you're living from the heart and you're looking, then you look good. When you're living from the heart, you look good. You look good. You look really, really, really good. When you're looking good and I picked up the deck and this fell out. So, okay. So, okay, we'll take it. When you're feeling good, I was just going to say, when you're feeling good, you end up meeting somebody. And I think who you're meeting is completely new. I don't think this is someone you know. And it happens when you let go of what you thought was a sure thing. So going back to what I said earlier. Okay, so there's that. Now, on August 13th, you have Mercury retrograde. All right? Mercury retrograde is happening in your 12th house of the hidden self. So the way I'd like to put this for you that will make a lot of sense to you and will make you very happy, although being a cardinal sign, it's not your most comfortable, okay, place to be, but just bear with me here. 12th house, I don't know why everything is turning into a mess. I think it's because it's hot in here. 12th house, hidden self inadequacy. Mercury retrograde. The way I have it written here is things are happening behind the scenes. Things are happening behind the scenes. What do I mean? I mean that things are being restructured without your help. And being a cardinal sign, that's not always an easy thing to accept. You don't have to do anything right now. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. Don't push. Just let it happen. Mercury is in retrograde, and it's in retrograde in a very stubborn sign. Just let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Give up control and let the invisible work in your favor. Let the invisible work in your favor. There's the title for this video. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it work. it's a retrograde. You can't do anything anyway. Just let it be. If this is what you want, let the situation be. It'll restructure before your birthday. Okay? Let's look at them. You want to look at them? Let's look at them. Let's look at them, and I will pull some outcome cards. Okay. So far, Nine of Pentacles, Three of Wands, the Empress, Four of Swords, Two of Cups, Queen of Swords at the bottom so far. Good. Looking very positive, very powerful cards at the beginning there. Emotional power, grounded material power, mental fortitude, calm, peace, new love. Things being restructured, so you need to sit tight. Don't micromanage the universe, yeah? Let it do what it needs to do for you. It's a retrograde anyway. You can't do anything. Let's see what else comes up. Now, when we do the extended, I'll be pulling more cards for this Two of Cups to figure out exactly what you need to know about that. But first, let's pull general outcome cards for the month and see what comes up. Because you also have a solar eclipse, right? Lots of connections. Lots of connecting going on. You also have the sun going into your 12th house. Like, really good stuff. You have Jupiter in your sign. Like, really, really lucky, powerful. Money coming in. Confidence, right? Of course, then something good comes in. The only thing you got to do is not be petty in the meantime. Okay, Nine of Swords. So, what's that about? You know, you might need to have some new goals for yourself. When Libra sets a pretty high bar for themselves and they reach it, you can immediately start to become bored and destructive and petty and way in your thoughts. Seems weird, right? That you would balance out such success with such pain. Balance. 9. But it's not a surprise to any Libra watching this, is it? When things are going the best is when you balance it out with quite some pain, right? What I'm saying is this can be avoided. Don't get, petty and insecure and bored and not trust the process just because it's taking a while and just because it doesn't look exactly the way you want it to. Realize that you're feeling this way not because you're not getting what you want, but because you've gotten so much of what you wanted and you need to set higher goals for yourself now. Or if you didn't get the person you wanted, it's because you need to aim higher. Two of Swords. Being very conflicted about it. Capricorn popping up here. So if you're dealing with a Capricorn, you may be very unsure as to something that has to do with them. It's not anything really major, it doesn't look like, except that Libra, when this card comes up for you, it's because you're really tying your own hands up. So this is either a Capricorn or it's somebody that, you're beginning to see as like the devil. Someone, I'm sorry to laugh, but like someone who the hurt is recurring, and every time you start to feel like you're really in a place of feeling content, they kind of bring the pain and balance it out again. What I'm saying is you've got to be honest with yourself about inviting the pain in because you're seeking that balance, and how sometimes it's okay to seek that destructive balance because you're keeping your larger nature in mind and you're accepting your duality. Dual. Look at this. 9, 9, 3, 3, 2, 2. Now if we get another 4 card, that would be balance. Okay, so the reading speaks of balance in many ways, and in that way we must learn to accept this 9 of Swords. We must accept that with the Libran filter of life comes the need to have things in equal measure, for better or for worse. Okay, and maybe there's a lot of signs that kind of forget about the last part of that for worse. But Libra measures things out in a way where they account for the for worse, right? It's like in Denmark where you pay for something, when you see the price, the tax is already included. Everything is included in the price. They've already done all that for you, right? Libra anticipates and knows that if they feel this way, that this will also come, and they factor it into their price. They factored into the way they feel. They know what, you guys know what this interplay of back and forth is between the dark and the light, between value and insecurity and inadequacy, right? Between a sure thing that you feel in your gut and being completely unsure. And so now Libra's going, I get all this. I see my duality. I know my inconsistency and inability to decide. Tell me something new. Tell me something good. I am telling you something new. I am telling you something good. You're here. You don't necessarily need to give in to this. You can have this in your life and balance out without getting all the way in it and in your feelings. And why? Because ultimately, damn, another 3. 3, 3, 3. Because ultimately, things are working out for you. And this is, again, the effect of Jupiter. Things are working out for you financially and in terms of love. Okay? And it may seem like really it was a hard-won battle, getting over whatever was making you feel like this, moving on to something new, something that has enormous amount of promise, something that's made you really deliberate if you're ready to forgive and try again and be bold and brave again, and feeling like you've, taken the time and thought it through and have come to a higher understanding in a place of, albeit temporary, victory over feeling like this. Right? So sure, slow but steady movement towards more and more liberation, higher self-image, leaving behind the toxic. It may seem in some ways like nothing new is happening, and I sympathize with you, because if there is restructuring being done in the invisible realm for your benefit before your birthday gets here, and your ducks are being put in a row by the invisible, it will be a kind of uneventful month because everything's happening behind the scenes. The only eventful behavior that you can bring into your life right now that will have any consequence isn't positive. If you try to make things eventful now, you're going to do it with drama and with insecurity, and you'll just be giving away all your energy with doubt and fear. The way to handle the universe restructuring for you and working behind the scenes for you, the way to handle that is with an equanimity and a grace in your external life. You know that big things are working in your favor. You've got, the big daddy planet, advocating for you and bringing you money and bringing you love and bringing you luck. So just, relax. Right? Just relax. You've reached a place of safety, but don't stay in this feeling of, I've just made it out. I've just left that person behind. I've almost got that person out of my psyche. Move past this into a feeling of sure success, into a grounded sort of success, where you don't care who feels like what about you. You know who you are. Okay? So uneventful, not really. You can make it eventful and make it melodramatic, but if you keep your cool, stay grounded, realize that you've had some victories here, and now move forward with just feeling better and better and better about yourself, you will very quickly acquire a mate that is good for you. It does require being honest about whoever's making you feel like this so you can move forward, but it's there for you. Okay? So that looks really good. Now, Let me tell you a little bit about Jupiter in Libra, and then we'll end this part of the reading and go on to the extended, okay? So, Jupiter in Libra. What does that mean? The way I can describe it to you, Jupiter in the first house, the way I can describe it to you is Carolyn Casey talks about how Jupiter is perfectly defined by a photograph from World War II, and I'm going to try to do this without crying. That's why I was hesitating in whether or not to tell you, because I don't feel like being emotional. But I think this is the last video I'm making today, so if my makeup gets messed up, whatever. There is a photo. So when people ask, what is the spirit of Jupiter? What do we need to be, aware of? What's it going to make us feel like? What's it, when it's having so much of an effect on your sign, people want to know. And she describes it so well when she talks about this photograph. So what is Jupiter? Jupiter is pleasure and luck and fun and always wanting to have fun, right? Like, I do this sick thing where I ask all my exes, like, stupid things. Like, if you could use one word to define me, what would it be? Like, stupid things. And it's always as it's fun. You're fun. You're so much fun, right? So that's Jupiter in the first house. So you have Jupiter in the first house. Now, what kind of fun? The way she describes it is this, and I think the reason it gets to me is because I am so much a Jupiter person. Your cycle with Jupiter, when it comes back around like this, it's to make you understand that everything that brought you here, all the ups and downs of the past few years, especially emotional, but also the physical hurts, also, all of it, it was meant to happen. It had to happen that way. And during your Jupiter transit, you start to understand why it happened the way it did. You start to see all the dots connect in your mind between what happened, what you learned, and where you are now, and how it was vital for you to learn those things. And the way that Jupiter likes to teach those lessons is through joy and pleasure in spite of it all. I'm just emotionally gathering myself to tell you this because it affects me so much. So when you ask, how will I feel during this? She describes a photograph. And this photograph perfectly encapsulates, yes, I'm procrastinating. I'm drawing it out. This is air sign shit. And not wanting to feel, I'm preparing myself for the fact that I'm going to feel. So there's this photograph from World War II. And it's of a bombed out London, when London was firebombed and destroyed. So it's from a part of London that was completely bombed out. Or actually, if I'm wrong, then it's a part somewhere in Germany that was completely bombed out. Everything is in ruins. Everything is just rubble. All the buildings, everything is just destroyed by this Mars, aggressive war energy. And in the middle of all this rubble is an in the middle of all this rubble is an older couple who is ballroom dancing. And the caption is, in spite of everything, yes. Right? Jupiter makes you look at everything and go, it's all right. When the people around me, because I travel so much, I'm always leaving people I love. when the people around me get upset and really sensitive that I'm leaving, and it happens a lot because I travel so much, I'm always the one who's like, it's all right, it's okay, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be all right, it's gonna be good. You know, it's Jupiter. In spite of everything, yes. In spite of everything, we're dancing. In spite of everything, there is beauty and joy and pleasure and art. And we say yes to it anyway. And I think this hits such a chord for me because you guys are the ones going through it. And you need this, like, boost, you know? Because things are so, in some ways, things are so bad right now. And you guys, you take it personal. Like, you look around at what's going on and you're like, what is going on? Like, this is not, you know, you're the sign of fairness. So you're looking around and going, like, this is not fair. This is not right. What's going on? Is it right? And so it's such a gift for you to have Jupiter right now because you need it. You need that extra push of like, yeah, it's ugly, you know, and we know you guys don't like ugly. Yeah, it's ugly, but in spite of it, in spite of the ugly, in spite of the war, in spite of the betrayal and everything that's going on around us right now, in spite of it all, yes. In spite of it all, we're going to party, we're going to dance, we're going to have a good time, we're going to be beautiful, we're going to create beauty, we're going to live with beauty, right? That's Jupiter. So powerful. The ability to see the interesting and the pleasure and the fun in anything and just take it and run with it. That's what you have access to right now as a collective group. Use it. Inspire people. Bring them together. Help them hope. Don't get stuck on the negative right now. Jupiter wants you to see the bigger picture. It wants you to see how you can turn this into an in spite of everything, yes, moment, right? I can't, you see how I can't help it. And my North Node is in Libra. So I think that's why it gets me even more that you guys are going through this, because it's hitting a part of my life that has to do with my greater overall purpose. And I feel like that's what my greater overall purpose is to bring this Jupiterian energy into the... Sorry, my camera froze. Whenever I get excited, my camera freezes. So Jupiter was in the 12th house, which is my house of subconscious. And in astrology, we say that if Jupiter is in your 12th house when you're born, it means that you have a celestial guardian angel. It means that there is some deep, powerful, subconscious, collective, unconscious force that's watching over you and over what you need to do in this life. You have a purpose that requires a blanket of protection, okay? So in the few minutes that I was being born, because I was a C-section, is when Jupiter transited from that, the 12th house of celestial guardianship and protection, to the first house. So I feel like my greater purpose, which is what the North Node is about, my greater purpose, which is to bring this Jupiterian energy into the world, is what's being, hit right now with you guys having this placement. And you saw how hard it was for me to talk about that photograph, because that's exactly it. How do you bring people in the depths of misery and war and depravity and predation? How do you bring them that moment of beauty that anyone else would think of as frivolous and unimportant? You're dancing in the middle of a war zone. Think about your lives. Think about getting some food. Think about, all the practical things that all the practical signs could rattle off. You need to be doing. Why are you dancing? You should be hiding from bombs. You should be hiding from the Nazis. You should be looking for food. You'll starve to death. What are you doing? You're old. You shouldn't be outside. It's freezing. All these things. And yet the Libra soul hears that story and is like, yeah. The Jupiterian soul hears that story and is like, yes. Yes. What's the point of having cities and anything other than rubble if we're not going to dance? All this stuff is supposed to be here for us to be able to do this. We're still going to do this. That's you guys right now. You guys have to bring that energy to all of us. We need it. We need you. And so if you're having your own emotional problems and you're having your own emotional ups and downs, which you do, and you're having your issues with why is this person not valuing me enough? Why am I still hung up on this person who didn't value me enough? Don't worry, because as this month progresses, that energy of you being so centered on what's going on with you will start to dissipate, and you'll start to feel how you need to be way, way more expansive, because your role is way bigger than that, man. You're not just some chick or some dude hung up on someone. You're so much bigger than that. You're not just someone who's trying to make a buck. That's not you. You inspire. So inspire. Right? You can't be inspired when you're coming from a place of fear, when you're coming from a place of does he or doesn't he, will he or won't he, does she or does no, it doesn't matter. They, whoever it doesn't matter. You. Right? We need you. Not their reflection of you. Not the worth you see in their eyes, but the worth you see in our eyes. All of those people who are looking around now and going, we need some hope, we need some beauty. Things are scary. Right? You can do it. You're a cardinal sign. You step up to things and go, yeah, all right, I'll handle that. The older brother, right? The one who's like, come on, let's go. I'll do this. I got it. I got you. So get us. We need you. All right? Oh my God, I love you. Do I need to tell you? Do you need to hear it? Fine. I love you. Let's see. I'll be in New York, August and September. Elma, my darling, is having a Queen of Swords, like opening soiree party thing at Queen of Swords in Brooklyn on the 26th. It is an opening for her salon. So what we don't want to do is like take over her party and flood her, place with all these people. I misspoke when I said we were having a block party because I didn't think through like all the permits and everything. Now that I have a team of people that I'm working with, what we're going to do is there's a place in New York called Sakura Park. It's right near up by where I live on the Upper West Side. And it is a park that within the park has planted something like 300 Sakura cherry blossom trees that were given to New York by the Japanese emperor. So for a few weeks every year, it is paradise. It is like this pale pink paradise. It's a small little park with like this beautiful pagoda where the Bloomingdale School of Music comes and plays regularly, and the place has fantastic acoustics for any sort of musical thing. I actually had my son's second birthday party there because it was his royal birthday. He was born on the 2nd. And we had like a band, and it was dope. So it's really easy to get permits for that place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in contact with the city, and I'm going to get some permits for Sakura Park, depending on what they have available and what works for everyone. And we will do a meetup there. I cannot promise that meetup will be in the August-September time period, and I don't know how beautiful it would be then anyway. We may have to hold up and like really plan for it and do it in the Sakura season next year, but then we'll have so much prep coming into it. We'll have all the permits, and we can make it like a really big, beautiful, spiritual event. Bring your yoga mats, bring your copper pyramids. I'll bring my copper pyramids, the one you sit in. and we can just like while out under the sakura trees, and yeah. But for now, we'll work on that. Okay, I'll get someone to work on that. But for now, what we want to do is support Elma in her opening for her salon, and you can come by and see me because I will be there chilling and hanging out, and just generally being like the Jupiterian nuisance that I can be. But she loves me, so it's okay. So yeah, so you can come by and see me and see her and celebrate with her and all that. Please do, but it's not going to be like a Quietest Revolution event. We don't want to like take away from what she's doing. We want to just support. And if you at the same time want to come by and like hang out with me and take some selfies and like whatever, talk to me, that's cool. We can do that. All right, that is that. If you are into the whole like hair and the salon and everything that's going to be going on once I get back, keep up with us on Instagram because I'll be doing a lot of videos, but I'm also thinking that when I go, like I said, priorities, as soon as I get back, I'm going to see Elma. When I go, I'm going to go on Instagram Live so you guys can talk to her too and, kind of hang out with her. It'll be cool. It'll be super cool. Also, Libras, darlings, Sundays, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, New York time, Lit Sundays. So Lit Sundays are going to be me and a friend who's going to be moderating, doing comments, reading the comments, and us kind of having a conversation, and you guys, being a part of it. That'll be about 45 minutes, half an hour every Sunday, and we'll pull like one card for the week and see how it's going to go. Last Lit Sunday, it was up for like a few hours, and then I deleted it. I wish I hadn't. I'm really sorry that you guys were like disappointed and upset by that. So the Lit Sundays will be up and they'll remain up. Okay. I will be doing readings while I'm in New York, and I will be doing readings while I'm in San Francisco and LA. So it goes August, September, New York, October, San Francisco, first week of November, LA, and then I'm back in Denmark from November, December, January. In February, there's a trip coming up to Negril. It's a very, very small group of people, but hit me up if you're seriously interested in that, and we'll try to see if there's any like wriggle room there. All bookings, all info, everything can now be found on amberkhan.com. Amber like the color, Khan like Genghis. It's not Khan, it's Khan, but I don't want to scare you. So, amberkhan.com. There's a booking and scheduling tool, so you can click on the calendar and see when I'm available. It's all there in front of you, and you can pick your day and your time, and you don't have to deal with me one-on-one anymore, which is like amazing because my Virgo moon goes insane trying to schedule things. So that's all of that. Now, I'm going to switch over to the extended reading, which will be available as a purchase or a rental. And if it's not available in your country, like I said in the comments, let me know. Just to let you know what we'll be doing in the extended, we'll be taking a closer look at everything going on in terms of eclipses, and then we'll be pulling some cards for what's already on the table, okay? You guys are great. I'll see you in September. Birthday time.